Okay, yeah. Thank you for the welcoming remarks, Jana. Also a warm welcome from us, the adelphi team, and the RRR Accelerator projects that have all joined today, which we are very thankful for. Today, after explaining the RRR Accelerator on Monday, we will look more into detail into the pilot projects and look into the lessons learned, into the success stories, into the challenges that they faced in more detail. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just a quick run through for the agenda for today. We'll have the check-in and welcome, for which we have concepted the Mentimeter, where we will just check in and see who has joined today. Then there will be a very quick introduction to the RRR Accelerator for perhaps the people who couldn't join on Monday. And afterwards, we will go into a quick introduction from each project, which will be followed up by a panel discussion. At the very end, the participants have the chance to pose some own questions and perhaps go into an exchange format with the projects themselves. Next slide, please. Yes, as already mentioned, we had the Mentimeter slide, but like Per mentioned, we will come back to that at the end. For now, I would just like to give a quick introduction to the RRR Accelerator. The underlying issue that we were trying to address with the accelerator is the fast-growing product category of electric and electronical equipment, and the subsequent waste that will be generated from the increased use of EEEs. And because the so-called, as you might know, it's called WEE or WE, and these WE fractions, they have a lot of follow-up issues in terms of the toxic inputs that they contribute to local waste streams if not contained successfully. And also there's a huge mining opportunity within these waste streams in terms of the natural resources, which is why we would want to avoid these at all possibilities. To address these challenges, someone not muted. Background. Okay, now it's better. To address these challenges associated with concepts for reuse, refurbishment, and proper repair, what RRR stands for, have gained a lot of attention in the recent decades. These approaches are really a very effective way of dealing with the environmental impacts that are produced by extending, for example, the product life of electronic products, closing resource loops, and optimizing resource efficiency as a whole. Accordingly, the RRR sector has been growing steadily throughout Europe, throughout North America, Africa, Asia. And with our project, we are aiming to accelerate and establish and scale up projects or business models which advance and support the repair and refurbishment and reuse of electronic equipment. Next slide, please. In order to accelerate these projects or business models, we particularly looked at potential ideas coming from low and middle income countries, and particularly focused on projects that could be implemented in local context and that demonstrate the potential to strengthen reuse and refurbishment and repair value chains. In terms of the concepts that could be explored, we were looking for projects that could remove obstacles for refurbishment and repairs, provide information tools or technical support, or that could develop standards or accreditation mechanism, eliminate artificial drivers of product turnover or barriers to reuse, as well just in general supporting the improvement, development, and implementation of the frameworks for RRR. Next slide, please. Together with the Prevent Waste Alliance and GIZ, we organized an ideation challenge rollout in January. And at the end of this rollout, we selected 5 projects, which who will present to you today, to receive a project development support package, which included financial and non-financial support. The Prevent Waste Alliance in this case was both a valuable partner for the project support development, as they provided networking opportunities, partnership development opportunities, technical advisory, as well as e-waste expertise for the selection process and grants to fulfill the immediate enterprise needs. Okay, that's all there is to the RRR Accelerator in a speed run. Now I would like to present the projects and their respective project owners. Like I said, we will go into each project will have a chance to first do an introduction about themselves in the pitching format, and afterwards we will go to the panel discussion. Perhaps I'll just go through the list quickly, and the respective project coordinators can just say hi and activate their cameras. So we have Hamilton from Brazil, who's the director of Sucata Quântica.
Hi.
We have Miguel Osejo from Colombia, who's the director of research and development at Innova. Miguel,
Hi,
are you
hello.
there? Okay. We have Joanna, the technical director from Vertmonde.
Hi.
We have Godfrey, who's joining us from Kenya, who's the director from INNO-NEAT. And last but not least, we have Pankaj.
Hi, sorry, I was limited. Hi.
Oh, sorry. We have Pankaj, this Chief Operating Officer from Doko Cyclers, joining us all the way from Nepal.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. All right. First off, I would like to give the floor to Hamilton, who will present to you the Scrap Lab 2, his concept of the mobile upcycling unit. Hamilton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tim, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Hamilton. I will present this initiative that is part of the winners, of the group of winners. Next slide, please. Okay, Sucata Quântica is an initiative, a collective initiative that develops upcycling processes as productive process development, education activities. We work 4 or 5 years ago as a group. So this is a project that we developed together with the team inside Sucata Quântica. Please, next slide. And this project is development of a mobile unit based on a minivan, but with a full infrastructure of spare parts, manuals, and tools and information that is tackling exactly this one, the first one of the challenges Tim already said, of providing information, tools, support, and removing obstacles to do reuse. So we incentivize the creative reuse of electronic and electric equipment by this mobile unit that we will put in the streets and we'll put in the squares to do workshops in public places, in community centers, and in different locations to demonstrate that it's possible to do reusing and upcycling with people engaged in these activities. So we will put the 10 toolkits, manuals, and tutorials in a Creative Commons license for have public access. Next slide, please. We are already working with different kind of models of electric and electronic equipment. These are examples that will be in the manuals. Please, next. But it's a whole range of opportunities that we have. Our model is based on collecting materials from partners that are popular people that are not corporates or big enterprises for us to start working. We collect materials from cooperatives, from waste pickers, and or e-waste companies, small companies. These materials will be our raw material to do upcycling. And we will conduct the workshops and the building of products with our team of facilitators, with the people engaged in the workshops and in different locations, as I already said, community centers, schools, cooperatives, and the revenue that we could collect from that is the sales of the items that we are already doing in the workshops or in the physical and fixed workshop, and the revenue obviously from doing and conducting the workshops. And a side effect of our work is to develop public policies for São Paulo City. Maybe in discussion I will talk a little bit more about that. Please, the next slide. I want to go a little faster for saying that our target group are the people that we already work in workshops that are mainly adult people who is able to do the products, but it's not exclusive because we already worked with children, and it was really exciting, really interesting because they have a lots of creativity and of new ideas to work, and with just a little help in technical side, we can make powerful things with the children also. We are working with a novel methodology that is integrating tinkering, bricolage, and upcycling as an educational practice. And we are working in everything with a complete assessment of technical, economic, and environmental aspects. Please, the next slide. We are working in São Paulo right now, but our idea is to expand to other Brazilian regions for the nature of the project that is mobile. Next, today, agora. Next, please. Okay, so ending my presentation, we have environmental, social, and economical impacts that we are already exploring, and we're already feeling these impacts are mainly related to material conservation, to training of people, and of income generation. This is being a really interesting process that we're working on, and I would like to thanks to everyone in Prevent Waste Alliance for being supporting this project, and from Adelphi team for all the support we already get. Next, please. I think this is the last. So thank you. This is Scrub Lab 2 by Sucata Quântica. Feel free to ask in the debate session to talk a little more about that.
Thank you, Hamilton. I think next on the presentation list is Miguel.
Hello, how are you? I am Miguel from Innova Ambiental, a Colombian company in e-waste market. Next slide, please. Our project was focused on the refurbishment of electric vehicle batteries. In Colombia, there are a lot of expectative in the electric vehicle market. The government has very ambitious programs and targets and goals to increase these kind of vehicles, and the environmental ministry is in accordance with this decision, very focused on solve the problem with electric vehicle batteries. So at Innova, and with the help of the RRR Accelerator program, we were working on developing at first a prototype for a refurbished battery from electric vehicles. Please, next slide. Our business model at first, again, was focused on selecting the electric vehicle batteries and diagnostic these batteries in two groups. One group was the type of batteries that are not able to be refurbished, and the other group is the type of batteries that are useful for a second life classification, or a second life for other purposes like solar panels or other sustainable energy. Therefore, the refurbished batteries, we made a strategic alliance with Tronex. Tronex is a Colombian company dedicated to manufacture batteries, lithium batteries from mobile purposes and also massive consumption. With the experience of Tronex, we start a very productive partnership. With their experience, we were able to refurbish and make a first prototype of the batteries, and Innova or the Innova may put his experience in recovering the materials from batteries from electric vehicles that are not able to be refurbished. The next slide, please. Our target group, of course, was the vehicle companies, international companies, local companies. Colombia has the major electric vehicle float of buses, public for public service, and
Miguel, are you still there? Hello?
Still there, but
Okay, it's not. I thought I was disconnected for a while.
no, he's still there, but somehow his connection broke.
Okay, maybe let's wait a bit for him. I think it's also might be a long distance for the internet connection to travel, so.
He's probably trying to reconnect.
I think there was only one slide left.
Yeah.
Anyways, maybe we can pick up the discussions with him in the discussion section, because I think we're also moving through very fast. So we'll have more time perhaps then to give Miguel the floor to detail out a bit on his project and his final solution. Joanna, maybe could you just start already? Would that be okay?
Yes, sure, no problem.
Okay.
There we go. So thank you very much. My name is Joanna, and I'm the Triple Impact Director of Vertmonde. Next slide, please. So we've been doing recycling for a very long time, at least more than 8 years. And what we discovered during this time is that a lot of the e-waste that we receive are actually still useful, either as equipment or as parts and components. In the other hand, we know for a fact that there's 1 million of electronic equipment, parts and components being imported every year to Ecuador, not just for as complete products, but also as spare parts for repair and recovery. Based on this, we created RRR. It's our circular electronics program, which is pretty much has two components. First one is trying to revamp the sense of used equipment, to remanufacture and sell pre-loved IT equipment with this very environmental concept behind it, like trying to make people understand why is it better to buy a second-hand, very good quality equipment instead of a new one. every time. And the other one, it's to work together with a robotic school in order to ensemble robotic kits that the kids will use to learn robotics. These things are at the moment imported from China, but we have tons of spare parts that are still useful, so we can pretty much assemble these locally in Ecuador. Next, please. So these are kind of like the two business models. Both of them are quite solid because they rely on the infrastructure and everything that Vertmonde already has for the past 8 years. We're pretty much working with a lot of our clients at the moment, and we've had a network of partners which rely for this new project. But pretty much the idea is, again, try to recover either IT equipment that is still useful instead of destroying it and recycling it. And the other thing would be to recover very simple parts and components, such as batteries that are a very complicated waste, chargers, little motors, cables and stuff, in order to create these assembly kits for robotic schools. Next, please. Is this the same? No, that's different, but somehow the same. Okay, next, please. Okay, so now going into the details of what we propose. So robotic kits will be made for up to 5,000 teenagers and kids that are the current students of our partner robotic schools, Robotic Minds School. And in the case of the IT pre-loved equipment, we are looking for a target of women and men in basically major cities in Ecuador, which are two, ranges from 18 to 45 years old. I think the main characteristics of both products, it's that in the case of the robotic kits, we not just want to, we want to have this environmental concept behind it as well. Like, it's not just learning robotics and learning coding, but actually doing it with a purpose. The purpose would be eliminating electronic waste that otherwise would have to be recycled and turning it into something useful. That would be the concept that we will manage in there. And in the case of the pre-loved equipment, it's a revamping. Like, reuse is not really good seen in Ecuador. So what we're trying is to make it nice again, like making people understand the environmental concept behind it, so that it kind of gets a little bit more, I don't know, acceptance in terms of whenever you have to choose whether you buy a new one or a pre-loved one. And the scope, again, is just main cities in Ecuador, which pretty much 60%, at least 6% of the population, and middle high range income. Next, please. And going into the impact, I will start with environmental impact. What we're trying is to divert at least more than 100 tons of products that were otherwise being recycled, like destroyed in recycle, and in a very proper manner, but still it's always better to extend the life and reuse it instead of immediately recycling it. We will try to recover more than 200 IT equipment to make a life extension, and more than 3,000 parts components that will be going into these robotic kits. In terms of social impact, out here, a lot of hashtags, tons of CO2 emissions. Like, it is a fact that we are going to reduce it, but we don't still know how to calculate them, because we have to consider like all the transportation and of importations that we are going to avoid, and all the CO2 that is going to be avoided by not producing equipment, which is a lot. So we didn't know how to, but we know we have that impact. In terms of social impact, plus than 250 kids and teenagers learning robotics through these reused components, more than 200 happy, responsible consumers that finally understand and that reused equipment, pre-loved equipment have a very high environmental impact. Quality jobs created as well, because we need really good qualified technicians in order to be able to do this. And, you know, also a very big part of this is making IT available for many people. I'm speaking like in terms of the financial, like the cost of it. And in economic impacts, well, like direct jobs, like the commercial value of recovering equipment versus commodities, it's like 5 times different. And of course, reducing the dependency of importation, that which we found is very important, because after COVID, when all the logistics internationally went crazy, it was very hard to get new stuff coming from the producers' countries. So we're actually trying to reduce that dependency from externals. Next, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna, for that lovely presentation. Next, we would go to Godfrey from Kenya. Godfrey.
Yes, thank you so much.
I think you can start.
Yeah, my name is Godfrey. I'm the founder and director at INNO-NEAT Energy Solutions. And at INNO-NEAT, what we do is we manufacture solar-ready repurposed lithium-ion batteries, cells for use in solar energy applications targeting low-income communities. And so the challenge, this has been the figure, I think the figure for people in sub-Saharan Africa that lack access to clean energy has moved to 1 million, the latest statistics that we are seeing from World Bank and Gogla. And then there's a battery challenge, battery waste disposal challenge. The past decade has also seen a lot of adoption of lithium battery technologies, and these batteries, of course, most of them are coming to the end of their first life. In Kenya, currently, I think this figure, the 70 tons, was the figure that we had in around May, but currently we are talking of over 100 tons of battery waste that is being held by the major e-waste companies. And this excludes that waste that has not been collected by the e-waste companies. So which of course, we don't have the means to be able to calculate, but we believe it's also substantial. So what do? We make these circular batteries that are reliable, efficient. These batteries also offer lower overall cost of ownership for low-income communities. And these batteries are repairable and maintainable and recyclable. They also create affordability, reliability, and efficiency in energy storage. So our business model is, of course, our specialty is manufacture, repair, and maintenance of batteries. The process, we are working together with the 2 main e-waste companies in Kenya, who are also actually members of the Prevent Waste Alliance, We Center and EnviroServe. They give us the cells. We do the cell testing, analysis, and purposing. We do the battery assembly. The marketing and distribution is done by, actually, we have increased the number of distributors. We have now a partner in Rwanda called the Pulse Rwanda, and we also have a partner in Uganda called Solar Now, on top of Tsunami and Sun Transfer Kenya. And so we are also working together with some funding partners such as Persistent Energy and Circular Innovation Hub. Next. Next slide. I think is this we jumped to one slide. Yeah, but in terms of environmental impact, we are removing what could be actually used batteries in the environment. We are providing an incentive for e-waste companies or any other person out there who is holding battery waste to actually bring them up for recycling. We are creating clean energy and for low-income communities because we are creating affordable batteries. We are reducing pressure on the need for cooking, firewood, and so on. And lowering carbon emissions. And also, our solution is also repairing and maintaining batteries, offering lower overall cost of ownership. Our social impact is, of course, affordable energy, reduction of dirty fuel, community engagement, because the communities are engaged on two different levels. E-waste collection, getting the batteries from the consumers or from the communities to the e-waste company and to us. And also the community are also empowered through access to clean energy. And also we are also working with electric mobility solution providers for low-income communities. And this, in this case, we are piloting a partnership with a company that is doing electric fishing boats for fishing communities in Lake Victoria. So in this whole end, we are creating jobs. We are creating energy for off-grid businesses, and also just creating e-mobility solutions. Next up. I think we are done. Just probably a final comment in terms of what the accelerator has done to us. It has opened so many doors. The accelerator has been able to, we have been able to manufacture more batteries, and currently we have about 150 batteries in the field, and we are very happy because we have not received any returns. We have signed up several partners. Sun Culture, a company that is doing smallholder solar irrigation. They have signed us up to do repair, maintenance, and assembly of their batteries locally. The Catalyst has also enabled us to actually sign up an investor which is an e-waste company, WeCenter, through their company called Circular Innovation Hub. They have bought 10% stake in our business, so they have 10% shareholding. I mentioned about having distributors in Rwanda and Uganda, courtesy of this accelerator. We have been able to get networks as far as Nigeria, where companies sought us out because of the unique business model that we are doing. And of course, with the funding that from the accelerator had helped us to create some level of visibility. So we are in the process of also being shortlisted for the Energy Catalyst with a Nigerian partner. We have been shortlisted for another program with an NGO in Mozambique called GALPE to also pilot our project in Mozambique. In Kenya, we have several organizations in the energy and circular space, such as the Energy for Impact Foundation, has also reached us out, and we are working closely together with them. So we are very, very grateful for the opportunity to work that this accelerator program has given us. Thank you. I hope I didn't take much of your time. Yes.
No, thank you, Godfrey. You already answered some of the questions that we will have in the panel discussion with, which is great. And great to hear all the progress you have made and all the ongoing projects you have been able to generate from this. Pankaj, I would move over to you. I think you have your own slides prepared, right?
Yes, just I'm sharing my slides. Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good evening to everyone. I'm Pankaj Panjiar, CEO of Doko Recyclers. We are only waste management and first e-waste management company in Nepal. We have started this project Repair Revolution workshop and training in support of Prevent Waste Alliance and as a technical partner as an adelphi, where we got a big supports from everything from soft to financial support. So I would like to move ahead. So what our project aims before, this project aims to target right now. One is like a repair and revolution workshop.
Pankaj?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but I think you are we're only seeing one page of your slides. So I think you have to share a different screen or
Sorry, just a minute. But here I can see slides, different slides over here.
Okay, yeah.
Now it's so I'm not going in the presentation mode, then I'll be in this mode.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So objective of this project, repair revolution workshop, we have two components. One is a workshop for the small students, age range between like 12 to 16 years of old, which are in the high school section, where they will be taught the basic skills for repairing electrical and electrical appliances and establish the habit of repair. We choose this as a components because now we are losing a repair culture in our country as well. And so the volume of e-waste is being generated, even it can be reused, it can be repaired. So to target those aspects, we have used these components. Next, our component was a training, a very in-depth skill training to develop a self-develop entrepreneurship to the teen youth from privileged and marginalized society so that they can start their own business in the repair centers. So in the both way, we are targeting to increase the lifespan of electrical and electronic appliances, which is right now being rejected just because of the minor fault and something else. I would like to move ahead with our results. So for the RRW, which is for the youth students cycle, our target was to achieve like teach the 70 students. Out of that, we exceeded by choosing 4 schools from 4 different schools. There is total to 76 participants, and we have 49 female and 27 male. So with this time, it's a female dominated, and we started this teaching program on 17th June, and last batch our just ended on 8th September. Though there are the 4 schools and 1 school was exclusively girls only school. We have chosen that deliberately to encourage the female in the household to become a technical mindset person. Similarly, we have so these are our outcomes from the RRW, where the students have like too much motivated. The behavior change was seen in the students when we took the feedback. There was a drastic change in the behavior where they have a confidence that they can do something in the reduction of the e-waste. They can start repairing something in their own households which they were discarding before. And that was a big outcome, and the happy face of the students were like something a great achievement to us. The second components was developing the skill manpower, human resource, where the target was 10 participants from age group of 20 to 30. And we choose 2 schools, 2 technical schools in our location nearby. Altogether, there was 12 participants now, and the classes are still going on. And there is 6 female and 6 male. Out of 2 already got employed in Doko recyclers. We already given employment in our company itself, and they are still in the training of getting in depth, like a chip level training where they can repair the IT equipments, the mobile phones, printers, laptops. So this this increase the repair capability in the chip level has given motivation that they can start their own business. These all 12 peoples are like targeting to have their own business first to learn and set up their family life. I mean, support their family by earning from this employment scheme. These are few testimonials where like schools where want to continue, even from the schools, even from the students, they want to continue this activity. They want to run a STEAM club, a eco club in their schools. They want Doko supports in these all cases. So way forward, like participants developed a very good habits of repairing e-waste. And last day before yesterday, we had one test with all those. We went to one school and just try to seek that what they have learned out, they are using it in the home or not. And surprisingly, the principal of school said that this group have repaired 3 of their old telephones and 1 CCTV camera and 1 mic in their schools. And that was really a proud moment for us that the education that we have given to the students were not got in vain. They started doing something in their home itself. So, and they have shown a big interest now. We are in the pressure now from different calls from different schools that they want this program to run furthermore, to have their students enrolled in this program. So I would like to share a few of the pictures where we have first, when the students arrive to our center, we first give them the demo what is the e-waste. We teach them what is the e-waste about, what is the waste management is all about, so they can have one brief information about the waste centers. And then we also hand over the toolkit, and then so that they can take the repair things, they can start repairing in their home also. So these are like a toolkit distribution to the students. And this is our e-lab where we have started teaching to the students in Doko Recyclers. So these are just few activities: dismantling activities, weighing the dismantle activities, what are the components inside that, students learn from there. Yeah, so they can use the soldering iron, they can use the wire strippers. They also repaired the electric jug and the extension cords, multi-plug. And this is one of the certificate distribution to our, this is from RRT basically. The students who are doing in-depth chip level training in one of the institute over here. So conclusion is that positive outlook regarding e-waste management. I mean, all the participants were very much positive that we should do something for the e-waste. We should reduce this, and there's a change in perception, change in habit, and awareness related to the refurbish of WE items. And thank you again, GIZ, Prevent Waste Alliance, and adelphi for giving us this opportunity. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for sharing the presentation and for showing as well some pictures from the workshops. I think that's always a really cool insight to have. Pim, could you perhaps share the discussion panel slide, as we would like to move over now into asking more specific questions about the progress, the milestones, the successes, some of the challenges or lessons learned that you have perhaps come up with during the course of implementing your projects, as well as your future outlook. I think you should be able to see the slide. Yes. Perhaps I would like to start with Hamilton in asking you, because I know that there's been a lot of work going on with the upcycling workshops that you have done, and you've shown me as well some videos. Just to hear about some of the milestones that you had during the time, and how your project is progressing so far.
Sure. Well, I want to say that we, as a milestone, we can state that we are actually gaining engagement from people that we are working in the workshops. They are really getting a time of fun and a time of creativity that is not common in the lifetime, in the normal lifetime of people. So this is an important milestone because it has a maybe a psychological effect when you provide materials and tools and instruction. Your mindset starts changing to see other opportunities, not just in the workshop, but in your house, in the streets. You start seeing the things that are discarded or wasted in a different approach. So maybe this is not as tangible milestone, but it's quite important. I think we will try to think in a methodology to absorb or collect these results. But for us, it's being really important to have laughing and to have funny moments in the workshops. Maybe this is one. But we already have an appointment with the City Hall that has interested to start understanding how this process is ongoing, and to have maybe a partnership with the São Paulo City Hall to start working in different activities. So this is an important milestone that we already have in our goals, to have these appointments, and it came without looking for. We were asked for going to to the city hall to have a presentation. So I will be going there the next week. So this is an important milestone. So maybe we are getting some attention, even without starting being as public with our mobile unit. I think it will be interesting to have more public, more publicity, more marketing activities, and I expect that it will be really engaging activities. As Doko Recyclers already mentioned, is a really interesting process to have education, training with people. Is really a two-side result from the participants and for the people who is conducting the activities. Maybe this is the first one. Comment.
That's cool to hear. Will you be going with the combi to the city hall, or?
Sure, sure. We make another work, not for this project, but another work for an artistic installation in Rio de Janeiro in the last weeks, and we put the combi in the middle of a public square, and it called too much attention because it's yellow. So it's really interesting to have this as a thing that calls attention, and once you have the attention of people, you can stay talking about waste and about resources. You have a icebreaker with a thing that is calling this color. So yes, we will go in our combi.
So always remember, choose bright colors for
yeah
the workshops. Okay, next, I think it would be very interesting to hear from Miguel. If I just read from him that his power briefly went out, but if you're with us, it would be because I also know that there's been a lot of progress going on with your project. Maybe you can share some of the insights that you've gained and some milestones as well. Miguel, are you there? Check. Can't see his name in the participants list currently. Okay, then Joanna, I would just move over to you with the same question. I think you also showed us some cool videos and pictures of what you've been doing in your workspace.
So yes, I think so one of like we finally built the remanufacturing lab, and it was quite interesting because sorry, wait a second. During the process, as we were trying to position the project and try to make it work, and looking for partners and looking for distributors and stuff, we actually found some very interesting opportunities, and it was not planned, but we start building our shop. So it's been on the work for the past 3 weeks, and it will be finished, I think, sometime this week. And well, the idea is to actually already have a shop that is open to final consumers, where a lot of the IT equipment, the pre-loved IT equipment, is going to be built. So that was one of the interesting things that happened during all this time, that at the beginning we have a very different approach on it, and yeah, there were some opportunities there, so we just pretty much took it. It's still quite interesting as well to see how people react to it, and that might be some challenge as well, because everybody loves the concept, but at the end we need to actually see if that I love the concept translate into, okay, I will buy a pre-loved equipment and an IT equipment, right? But in the case of, for instance, the kids in the robotic school, that has been overly easy. They really liked the idea of where it's coming from. We are preparing a first visit to the e-waste facility, because we want them to understand what they are doing with their hands. Okay, it comes from here, and now you have it in your hands, and now you're making it useful somehow. And actually, we also, during the building of the kits, the assembling of the kits and developing them, we figured out that we had another opportunity for e-plastics. So at the moment, how they are being built is with like the casing, let's say the casing for the robots, it's pretty much MDF wood, some sort of wood, like very thin one, panels. So they crop them and it's easy to assemble. So we pretty much made exactly the same panels, but out of electronic waste from the plastic that we already have. And we're tasting them, and they are easy to cut, also easy to assemble. Of course, like we still have to work a little bit of the aesthetics of it, because sometimes with recycled plastics and the process of turning them into panels is still not very polished. But overall, that was another interesting thing that we found when developing this, changing the wood for e-plastics as well. That makes a lot of sense. So future outlook, I think there's tons of things to do. We are super happy about it. Since we start talking about the robotic part especially, we figured out that there are a lot of educational institutions, and overall there are a lot of companies which have some sort of program to work in education in developing areas, rural areas, and all of them apparently believe that all this digital education, including robotics and coding, it's a super important part of the curriculum. So we've been finding these other connections with companies and organizations that have nothing to do with what we thought at the beginning. So I think it will be a very interesting road from now on. At the end, the aim of this is to be able to build somehow this spare parts center that will somehow fuel all the repair and refurbish that we foreseen for a transition to a circular electronics kind of thing.
Sounds really cool. You already took the other questions as well.
Yes,
which is getting everything out of the way at once, which is great. Perhaps it would also be cool to hear from Godfrey. I think in the pitch you already mentioned a few milestones and how your project has progressed. Maybe you can pick out one specific one that was very memorable for you as the course of the project ran.
Yeah. Okay. I have a lot of memorable things about the project, but I think
Then share them all.
What has come out clearly is that the project has enabled us to see the circularity in our project more clearly, because what we were doing initially, coming myself and my partner, our background was solar energy, and so for us we were so much inclined into the solar aspect of the whole project. We didn't see the from when we started, we didn't see the bigger picture in terms of on the e-waste side, but then this program has really given us a bigger picture, and that's also what has also by being more clearer and communicating that side of the value, let me use the word value proposition, we have been able to attract all these stakeholders that we can boast of attracting. Yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of stakeholders mentioned in your presentation, so quite cool to hear. Okay, Pankaj, I think lastly would be cool to hear from you. I think you already briefly mentioned the results of your workshop and your trainings and the participants. Maybe you can share or shed some light on some memorable milestones that you have achieved in the run of the project as well.
So like every moment was very memorable for me because I was personally involved in most of the trainings. But once in the first batch, when the first team, we created a competition. Now after teaching them everything, we created a competition that who can repair one of the household items. It's your choice. Take any of the household items and come up with, in the team of 2 or 3, you can bring one items. And girls team came so quickly, just immediately they took one electric water heater and they repaired it so quickly and they came it and it started working. And that was a very proud moment for me, that they are so much interested in learning that my education is not going in vain. And that was like a very proud moment for us and entire team, our technical team who was teaching them. Yeah, and there are other moments also, but this was the very proud moment for me.
Yeah, I can imagine it's quite cool to see the work coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've talked a lot about the good things, but maybe it's also time to look a bit into the challenges as well, and some of the lessons learned from that you derived from these challenges. I would perhaps start with Hamilton, but it would, if any of you can build upon other challenges, then feel free to chime in. It doesn't have to be one by one, because I can imagine that some of the aspects will be similar in terms of the challenges that you faced. Okay, Hamilton. So yeah, what were the challenges that you faced during the implementation of the mobile upcycling unit, and how did you overcome them, and what were your takeaways from overcoming these challenges?
Sure. Yeah, I think I have a challenge that is maybe is common for also for Doko and for Joanna. For maybe Pankaj and Joanna could agree maybe with that. That as we started designing processes or products or activities for doing reuse or refurbishment, I think we, in the first time, we see the design obstacles from obsolescence design, from obsolescence premises that are in place in some companies or in some products, that you start dismounting something and you can't go further and you can't go more in detail in the components. You can't recover some specific component because it's blocked or is inside some specific material, or it has some specific fixing technique that is impossible to go further and impossible to reuse or repair. So if you are trying to make some upcycling of anything, I could speak about transformers, about specific electronic components as microcontrollers. It's maybe in many opportunities it's impossible to take off a component that is already working but that you want to use in another place. So the way to tackle this or to overcome this challenge is to have partnerships that could explain you better how to make better use of the stuff. So in the first time I was trying to understand electronics and to understand the components, but I need to go to a professional that has more experience recovering transformers, recovering batteries, and it's not easy, and it's not easy. You have to collect more information and collect more training, and maybe have a pathway and have a course of knowledge that is growing, that is and it's not, you have not a specific moment that you say, now I know how to reuse stuff, or I know how to refurbish. It's an infinite process. Maybe I don't know if my colleagues agree with that, but you have really specific obstacles derived from the design obsolescence premises of products, and maybe, and I don't want to be by companies also, but specific brands. So I think this is my main challenge right now.
Yeah, I think we can all know what brands you're talking about. Pankaj or Joanna, do you have any comments perhaps on that specific challenge?
We are in extensive refurbished things in our Doko recyclers. So what Hamilton has mentioned, the challenge is very true. Like irregularity in the design and obsolete items, we're finding the spare parts, or even if we find a spare part and that is not compatible. So these are the big challenges we have to dismantle and discard even the usable items that was supposed to be used in good way. So definitely uniformity in design or some standards that can be developed across the world through some of the big houses, big electronics producing companies, that will help. Not even, I'm not saying a much part, even if it can save 2 to 3% of equipment that can be repaired, that will be the big volume of e-waste prevented in going as a waste. Yeah, that's a very valid challenge that we're facing in our Doko day to day.
Joanna, do you have anything to add, or? Okay, doesn't seem like it. Pankaj, have you faced any other challenges beyond the difficulty to repair because of certain designs of equipment?
So during project implementation, we have the biggest challenge, the time constraint. That's a pressing time. Just we have 2 months to implement, and the target was 2 months to achieve. The second challenge was like we have very frequent power cut in our country. So training was started and suddenly there is no power and we don't have the backups. So most of the time the 3-hour session extend to 6 hours and the students feel very irresistible sitting all the way around the 6 hours. So those were the few challenges. That's again the physical challenge, what we call that's a materialistic challenge. And the next challenge was like selection of students. Whenever we went to schools, different schools, and pitching our ideas so that we can onboard few students, the number of students that we received the applications that we want to be part of this, and selecting only few students, that was a very big challenge. We were not expecting that much of overwhelming response, but fortunately the response was too much. Like we are expecting 20 students from one school, but the application was somewhere 100 and 150. And it was a very big headache to like shortlisting those students. That was another challenge we faced during. So time frame, and that's a little critical. But anyhow, we try to manage those. Initially we try to do it only in the weekend class so that the students would not miss their regular class. But fortunately, we happened that in between exams, after their terminal exams, they have 1 week vacations. So we continuously run 6 days program rather than making just in the weekends. So the time constraint was somehow we counterpart in that way. We try to sort out in that way. Next, students' curiosity was like skyrocket. They want to start repairing the very complex item. They said, can you teach us to repair the refrigerator? Can you teach us to repair the washing machines? And I said, this is not your level at this stage. Please bear with us with the nominal household appliances. Yeah, the curiosity was a bit too high of the students. Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. It's perhaps something to build on as well, that they are curious to repair other devices as well.
Yeah.
Godfrey, perhaps it would be cool to hear also from you some of the challenges that you faced during your project and how you overcame them. Godfrey, are you still there with us?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if. Yeah. I think the biggest. I don't know whether to call it a challenge. The biggest challenge we have is in terms of consumer perceptions. I think when it comes to reuse and repurpose, consumers and the market is not really well tuned, or they don't think that that reused or repurposed or recycled products or materials are good enough. So that's a challenge we've had in Kenya. And considering especially that for us in our business model is to work through companies that are serving those off-grid markets. So yeah, these businesses, of course, have had their reservations in terms of, can these batteries work so well? Is it really good enough? Can I trust? So that some of these businesses, like, yes, they've gotten their orders. We've given them sample batteries, sample units or prototypes to work with, but they are asking for up to 6 months of actually testing, just for them to be sure that our products are good enough. So that has been the biggest challenge, because then we cannot grow. And I believe this cuts across all other businesses, that whatever products that we are making out of these recycled or materials, the customers want a little bit more assurances. Yeah, another, let me also call it a lesson or challenge that we are facing is actually there's no, like for us, we are in recycling, but we're also in between the energy sector, and in Kenya there is no regulatory framework or quality or standard framework for repurposed or reused lithium batteries technologies. And so we have had difficulties, like when we have to export these batteries, complete units, to outside the country, and then you're asked for, like standards and specifications and quality approvals and so on. So that has also been a challenge for us. So I think it's also governments and policy and stakeholders to start thinking about these solutions more seriously.
Okay. We have a small amount of time left to hear a bit about the future outlooks of each project. I think, unfortunately, Miguel, I think he still has ongoing energy issues. And Joanna also wrote me that she has internet connection issues. So perhaps for the three winners that are left, it would just be interesting to hear how you would want to perhaps put your project further in a larger scale, and will you need any support or perhaps infrastructure, or as Godfrey already mentioned, support in legal frameworks to advance your projects on and scale them. I would perhaps start again with Hamilton.
Sure, I think that maybe a challenge or a need for scaling these kind of initiatives is demonstrated in this issue of energy issues with of Miguel or of some. I think in our regions is very common to have shortage or to have problems with energy, and maybe this is a good point to start saying that self-sufficiency in energy is maybe a need for this kind of initiatives. It was one of the aspects that lead us to design a unit that has a solar kit in it for going and working in any place. But maybe in the fixed installations, it's important to have a to ensure that you can operate being self-sufficient in energy. Maybe this is an interesting thing to think for these initiatives, because if you have a dependency, is hard to overcome challenges. Another aspect in this same way that maybe is a preliminary condition to scale is to have public or government partnerships for helping in terms of rent or of places for working, because I think that there's a lot of work of the people in these initiatives for collecting the money to pay a rent, and this you have to work too much and sell or conduct too much activities to have an income that is enough to pay a rent to a private owner. Or and I think public administration has possibilities of enable places, public places that are not being used in the same way, in the best way, maybe reusing public places for these reusing facilities or these repurposing facilities or remanufacture facilities. I see here in Brazil and Colombia also, and Latin America, a lot of places that are public buildings, abandoned buildings that has not conditions for being livelihoods or households, and stay just maybe dying. There are places that are not being well used. So a condition that I will try to speak with the city hall is this one, because if you have a support in terms of a place for working with no cost or with some kind of partnership or counterpart, is more easy to think in other stuff, in other evolution of your projects. I think this is one aspect, and the other one that I already mentioned in the challenge, maybe to work in transparency in electronic design, maybe to have independent initiatives as our initiatives here that state that transparency in design or interchangeability in design must be a premise for sustainability in a broader way, because if you don't have clear indications or orientations for changing some element, is impossible to have circularity. Is not something that comes just from the brands, but also from the users, the consumers, and the initiatives, the independent initiatives to have transparency in this. I think is important for have circularity going or growing, not just being coming from the top down, but from the bottom up also. We are not hearing you, Tim. I think you are muted.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good point, Hamilton. Perhaps it would be interesting now to hear as well from Godfrey what the next steps for your projects are, how you want to scale up the battery refurbishment process, and perhaps what's the support that you also need in scaling up.
Yeah, as I had mentioned earlier, this project has created a lot of excitement around circularity and the intersection between circularity and access to energy. And I've had very good engagements with stakeholders. So the future outlooks, of course, looks good. But also it was also brought into focus the need to support local initiatives because of such as the ability to be sustainable or to grow into sustainable business models. Because one of the stakeholders that I'm engaging, I don't want to mention names, but they had a European-based partner to do almost the same thing that what we are doing, but they were not so as innovative as we are, and so they actually dropped them and worked to us and asked us to actually be their partners, actually in sub-Saharan Africa. And so that, for me, it's something that gives me a lot of hope that that these things are possible, that there's need to support these local innovations, because they are providing practical solutions to the challenges that these communities are facing.
Another very, very good point. Supporting local solutions is always, I think, the best option for progressing sustainability, especially in the e-waste sector. Pankaj, it'd be great also to hear from you, perhaps what's planned next, and what's the support you might need for going the next steps.
So after looking the response from this project, we have seen the potential, like small actions to the students, especially to the students, that will bring big results in their society. Like we have taught them a very a small session of waste segregation also, like solid waste, municipal solid waste segregation, and increasing the possibility of recycling for those solid waste. And they have created a big buzz in their students' minds. Now they are teaching this to in their school also, to the teachers, to the principal, to the other fellow students. So what we are seeing that now we'll make this as our part of core business in our Doko recyclers, where we'll start a weekends class. Maybe if we are lacking fund, then we'll be using the paid classes where students can pay a minimal fee and then can join. And for the community schools, like from the government schools, if they are not able to pay the fee, we'll seek some funding with some local club members or some local organizations, NGO, or definitely from these our partners also right now who are listening maybe, to continue this. And one student means what we are thinking, one student teach one family, and one family is a reflection of a community, one community. So more we teach them the repair culture, the more we teach the grave of the recycling situations, the circular economy, the more outcomes that will be benefit to the society and the environment, that I feel. So we'll continue this in whatever capacity, whatever way we can it. But this will be now as the Doko core culture of repairing cultures that will promote way further.
Sounds great. So you're relying on the snowball effect of your trainings.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think at this point I would just like to thank all the winners for participating today and contributing these very cool insights. And I would like to open the floor